Hello, I'm Jason Barrage, President and CEO of Complex Community Federal Credit Union. We're excited to be with you for your freshman seminar at UTPB. While we're accustomed to meeting in person, these times in which we live have required us to get outside of the box and share our presentations virtually. We have a long-standing relationship with UTPB and are glad to bring you budget and credit seminars, helping you grow in your financial knowledge so you have choices as you go out into the world. Did you know that 79% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck? What does this mean? It means you don't have financial capability to pay your bills, provide food or other necessities for your family. In short, living paycheck to paycheck means you don't have as many choices and your opportunities are limited. One of the greatest investments you'll ever make is your education and your understanding of financial capability. Special thanks to Dr. Woodley and Dr. Frawley for understanding the importance of your educational experience and the need for that educational experience to include financial capability. At the end of each session, you will go and have a chance to submit questions. We look forward to the opportunity to responding to those questions. We're excited and ready to run with Freshman Seminar.
Hey guys, I'm Madison with Complex Community Federal Credit Union, and today we're going to talk about credit basics. So we believe that knowledge is power, and so today we're going to talk about what is credit, how does it work, we're going to talk about the different types of credit, what we call the 5 C's of credit, and then really dive into what is a credit score, why it's important, and what you can do to build or fix your credit. So let's dive right in. What is credit? Credit is just a fancy word for trust. It is, does the financial institution trust you enough to let you borrow their money now and pay them back later? It's a tool for you to use in order to borrow that money. So there are a couple different types of credit. So first, the probably most common type of credit is an installment loan. So this is a loan that is paid out over a specific period of time in equal payments. So a year in equal payments per month. That's going to be loans like a car loan or a loan for a recreational vehicle, a personal loan. Another type of credit that I'm sure you're all familiar with is a student loan. This is money that's borrowed to pay for school. It's used to pay for school. I had lots of friends in college that used their student loan money for things that were not important. Christmas trees for their college dorm, food, vacations, and now we're out of school and they're paying off those student loans and they're paying off things that no longer important. The next type of credit is a mortgage. A mortgage is similar to an installment loan, but much bigger. A mortgage is a home loan. Instead of being over a couple years, it's over 30 and sometimes even 40 years. It's your home loan. Your mortgage shouldn't be no more than 25% of your budget. And then the next type of credit is what we call predatory lending. This is payday or title loans. We call them predatory lending because it is targeted to a certain demographic, and it sucks them into a cycle of debt. So they borrow money to pay something in advance, and then the interest rates are so high, sometimes 400%, and then they have to borrow more money to pay off the first money that they borrowed, and it just becomes this cycle of debt that can be suffocating. And then lastly, a type of credit that you're going to be familiar with is credit cards. Credit cards are what we call revolving debt. So like a Ferris wheel, you have a limit, you can spend up to the limit and then you pay it down, and you can spend up to it and you pay it down. It's revolving debt. So some common misconceptions is that people have both debit cards and credit cards. So there's a difference between the two. A debit card is your money. It's the money that's connected to your checking account. It's your money. A credit card is borrowed money. It's the financial institution has let you borrow money, given you a limit, you can spend it up and pay it down. So a couple different types of credit cards are, first, a secured credit card. This is the kind of credit card that we recommend to people who are just starting out in credit, trying to get your feet wet, learning how to build credit. So the way that this works is you would walk into a financial institution, you come into my office, and you would bring maybe $300 with you. I would take your $300, put it in a savings account, and lock it up. That money, you can see it, it's got your name on it, it's your money, but that is going to be the limit on your credit card. So if it's $300, you can spend up to $300 and you pay it off. It's the safest way to start building your credit, because if you default on those payments, that money is already there. The financial institution will take that money, close your account, and that'll be the end of it. So the next type of credit card is the most common type of credit card. This is called an unsecured credit card. So different from a secured credit card because there's going to be no money or collateral locked up to support your limit. So the financial institution is going to give you a limit. You can spend up to that limit, but there doesn't have to be anything set aside to back that limit up. The last type of credit card we're going to talk about is store cards. So these are cards for specific stores, like an Academy card, an Ulta card, a Target card. You can't take an Ulta card into Academy and use it. They're going to laugh at you. It's specifically for that store. This is where lots of young people get in trouble because you go up to the counter, they say, oh, if you want 15% off of your purchase today, you should open this card. Well, you get more than one, you swipe them, you build up debt, and the interest rates are high. I just implore you to be really careful when considering getting a store card. Really think, is this something that I need? The next piece that we're going to talk about are the 5 C's of credit. These 5 C's are what we consider when you come into our office looking for a loan. So the first one is capacity. So capacity is what we call income to debt ratio. So think about if you have 2 water bottles. One of them is full and one of them just has a little bit left. Which water bottle has the most capacity? If I poured more water into each water bottle, the full one will overflow, whereas the almost empty one still has room to take on more water. Very similarly, we're looking at your capacity from your income to your debt. If your debt takes up so much of your budget, of your capacity, a smart financial institution, someone who doesn't want to see you get into trouble, is not going to put more debt on top of that. We do not want to overflow your water bottle. We're looking for your income to debt ratio to be someone who could take on more debt. So the next thing we're going to talk about is character. So this is how you conduct your business. We want to know if you can pay on time. We can see that character in your credit report. We can see your previous payment history, but we just want to know that we can trust you. So credit is just a fancy word for trust. Character is just trust and accountability. Next, the third C of credit is collateral. So collateral is that something of value that you put up when getting a loan. So if you're getting a car loan, the collateral is the car. The next C is conditions. So we can all agree that sometimes bad things do happen to good people. That's just a fact of life. As a financial institution and as lenders, we understand that bad things happen to good people. You lose your job, you get sick, someone in your family passes away. What we really want to see is that even though those things have happened, that you have taken steps to overcome them. So you lost your job. Well, now you've gotten a new job, you're back on track with your payments, and you're making strides towards overcoming those conditions. The last C of credit is capital. So this is your skin in the game. It's most commonly your down payment. We want to see that you have the same value in your item as we do. You have just as much invested as we do. You have that skin in the game. So what is a credit score and why should I care about it? A credit score is a number that represents the risk that you present to a potential lender. It's a number that is created by a very long and difficult algorithm, but it really just identifies your risk. So why should you care? Your credit score helps determine if you're going to get a loan on some of the larger ticket items, a car, a home. It can affect your future job. We were teaching one of these classes a couple years back, and a young man told his story to us. Since he was a little boy, his dream was to be in the FBI. He went through all the processes to be recruited by the FBI. He went through the training, the physical training. It was a pretty grueling process, and he got to the very end and they pulled his credit. He had made some poor decisions with a credit card when he was in college, and he didn't get the job, and he was back fighting for a different career. Your credit report shows that character, just like we talked about in the 5 C's. That character is not something that just a lender wants to see, but a potential employer wants to see. It can affect getting approved for an apartment, a cell phone contract, and if you ever wanted to start your own business, it could affect that as well. So the first step to building credit is to start small. I mentioned that shared secured credit card at the beginning. I recommend that be your starting place. Purchase small things on there, like just your gas. Start small and start to grow. It's a building process. It takes time. A really good tip when starting to use a credit card is to create a savings account. And because of online banking, now you can name those savings accounts. Just name that account credit card savings. So every time you swipe the card, if you spent $21 at the gas station, then you just go to your checking account, transfer the money into your savings account called credit card, and then when you go to make that payment, you're sure that the money will be there. It's very easy to swipe the money away without realizing it. So it's important to be responsible and keep track of those things. Can you fix it? Credit is something that grows and changes. We never call credit bad credit. We call it colorful credit because it's always redeemable. You can always make it better. It takes small steps like paying on time, reducing your overall debt. Maybe that means not using the credit card for a little while, but work out payment plans. If you get behind, lenders are people too. We understand that bad things happen to good people, but lenders don't want to repossess your car. We want our money back. We want the value of your loan back. So it is in our best interest to work out a payment plan with you. Just have a conversation with your lender. So the best way to manage your credit, start with a budget. Stick to the budget, live by the budget, love your budget. Work out a plan. If you're struggling or you want to learn more information, talk to an expert, a financial counselor at a local credit union. You can come talk to us at Complex. I encourage you to avoid emotional purchases. Practice delayed gratification. Really weigh the difference between wants versus needs. It can all add up to just paying attention to the small stuff. And some last minute thoughts to end this session is, when you're really starting to think about beginning to build your credit, I want you to really weigh the responsibility. Any type of credit is a huge responsibility. Make sure that you are ready to take on that. Make sure that you have a plan. If you're someone who works a part-time job with inconsistent pay, consider waiting until you have something more stable. Make sure that you are financially secure and that you are educated and have a plan as you move forward building credit. Okay guys, we're back to answer some of the most common questions we receive about credit. I have with me Lisa Wyman, a Senior Vice President at the Credit Union, to help answer some of these questions. So are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Glad to be here.
All right, so the first question we receive the most is, will my good credit I've built it on smaller purchases. Will it still look questionable when I purchase something larger, like a home or a car?
Well, it could. What creditors are really looking for is a long-standing ability to repay a loan. So if you've got a $500 limit credit card and you're paying it faithfully every month, that doesn't show me that you can pay a $2,000 mortgage. So you're not going to get a credit card this year and buy a house next year, more than likely, without paying a pretty hefty interest rate increase based on your credit score. It takes time to build that credit score, get that score nice and high, so your interest rate will be nice and low, and they'll be willing to take that chance on you.
Okay, so building off of that, can you dive in for me a little bit about what an interest rate is and how my credit score affects that?
Absolutely. So interest rate is basically a calculation of how much money you're going to pay the credit union or the financial institution to borrow money from them. So it may be 10%, 15%, maybe 2%, depending on what you're purchasing, how long you're planning to pay that out. So here's what I'll tell you. If you have a low credit score, you're going to have a higher interest rate every single time. Doesn't matter who you're borrowing money from. So we're looking for nice high interest rates to get that nice high credit score to get the lowest interest rate possible. And that's the position that you want to be in. So that's why paying on time, time after time, watching your credit, making sure you're taking good care of it. When you do purchase the house, nice low interest rate, sure to get approved.
Okay, so I want that nice low interest rate, but my credit score is low. So is that something that I can fix and make better so that I can get that low interest rate?
Absolutely, you can. It takes time. There are a lot of companies out there that'll say, hey, we'll fix your credit score today, just pay us a few $100. Please don't do that. There's nothing that they can magically do that you can't do yourself or with a trusted lender. And so, for example, if you were to come to the credit union, we would sit you down with someone that helps you to figure out why is your credit so colorful, maybe help you write some letters, make some phone calls, and see where we can go from there. So it's definitely redeemable, to use your word from the presentation, but it's not an overnight fix, and that's why it's so important from the very beginning. Small steps, baby steps as you're building your credit. Make sure you're not taking on more than you can manage. Because if you do, you're going to wind up upside down, poor credit score. Takes time to fix that.
Okay. So one more question. If I have found myself upside down on credit, I am not making my payments, is the financial institution able to put a hold on my accounts?
Yeah, they can. So for example, if you're at a bank or a credit union and you sign a document saying, I promise to pay back this car or this credit card, generally within the language of that contract, because that document is actually a contract, is built in some language that says, listen, if you've got money in your checking account and you're not paying us, we get to take that money out of that checking account or even a savings account in order to satisfy the loan. The best thing to do when you get behind, pick up the phone and call us. We want to work with you. Other financials want to work with you. Madison, in your presentation, you said we don't want to repossess vehicles. We don't. We would rather that you keep them. We just want you to pay for them. So give us a call. Let's see if we can work something out.
Well, Lisa, I really appreciate your time and you bringing your input and your expertise to our session. Guys, we will see you next time.